Welcome back, and today is the mid-season review for the Atlanta Hawks. Let's just get right into her. To begin with, no, it's not technically halfway through the season. The Hawks are 19-19, which is 38 games into the year. There's 82, 41 would be a halfway point. But we're going to start now because I want to do every team before the All-Star break. Starting off, like I said, the Hawks are 19-19 this year. Their leading scorer so far has been Trae Young with 22.5 a game. Rebounding, Jalen Johnson. Assists, Trae Young with 12. Dyson Daniels has been killing it, 3.1 steals a game. Jalen Johnson has been leading their team in blocks. As for scoring-wise, other than Trae Young's 22.5 a game, they get 19.8 a game from Jalen Johnson, 19.4 a game from DeAndre Hunter, about 13 from Dyson Daniel, 11 from Bogey. They get 10.8 from Onyeka Okongwu, and 10.7 from Zachary Richashe. As for rebounding, they're getting 10 a game from Jalen Johnson, 9 from Clint Capella, about 7 from Onyeka Okongwu. They also get 4.9 out of Dyson Daniels, 4.3 out of Larry Nance Jr., and 4 out of DeAndre Hunter. As for assists, they got the assist leader in the league, Trae Young. But other than that, they also get 5.3 a game from Jalen Johnson, 3.6 from Dyson Daniels, and no one else is doing that much assist-wise. Trae Young has the ball for the majority of the game. He distributes. It's his thing. It's Trae Young. He passes. He scores. He's one of the best point guards in the league. Like we said, for steals, Dyson Daniels leading the league, 3.1 a game. He's been an incredible player for them so far this year. They also get 1.5 out of Jalen Johnson. They get 1.3 out of Trae Young, 1.1 out of Larry Nance, and 1 out of Bogey. As for blocks, they're getting 1.1 a game from Jalen Johnson, 1 from Clint Capella, almost 1 from Dyson Daniels, and then the other guys on the team also block occasionally. As for assist to turnover ratios, Trae Young, of course, is the highest. Next up would actually be Crazy. I think I'm saying that right. Don't hate me, Hawks fans, if I'm saying it wrong. His shooting splits have not been great this year as a rookie, but his assist turnover rate has been pretty good. Onyeka Okongwu is pretty solid. Larry Nance Jr. has been good. You also have Buffkin, Matthews, and Dyson Daniels all above 2. If we look at about the minutes per game they're playing, Jalen Johnson is actually leading the team with 36.3 minutes per game. Trae Young right behind him with 35.7. They play Dyson Daniels 33 minutes a game, and then they have Hunter, Bogey, Richashe, Onyeka Okongwu, and Clint Capella in the 20-minute realm. If we're just looking at the players individually, let's start with Jalen Johnson. He's having a heck of a season. About 20, 10, and 5 this year. He's only shooting 51% from the field, which you might expect a little bit better out of it says small forward, but he's basically a power forward, and we all know it. If we look at him, his career, his numbers are up from his career numbers, his field goal percentage, his three-point percentage, his steals, his blocks, his assists are almost double. Everything is better. I mean, he's going to have more turnovers, but he's also playing more minutes. If we look at last year to this year, his shooting splits have gone down by 3, a little bit up from the field. He's getting 3 more minutes a game, but he's giving them about 4 more points per game. He's getting an extra rebound. He's getting about 2 more assists per game. So the progression of Jalen Johnson has been quite something to see so far. You know, those first 2 seasons, we weren't really quite sure what type of player he was going to be coming out of Duke. He didn't really go that high in the draft, but this is a great pickup from the Hawks, and he's turned into quite a player for them. Next up, we got maybe the best point guard in the league, Trae Young. Okay, he's not the best point guard in the league, but I really like him. He's probably top 3, top 5 point guard in the league. He's number 1 in assists. He's going to get you buckets. If we look at his stats, we can see that, yes, his minutes are a tad bit down. His shooting percentage has gone down. His three-point percentage has gone down, but his assists are at an all-time high. He's not shooting as well. His points are at an all-time low other than his rookie year, but he is passing the crap out of the basketball. And that's helping this team out a lot. Not with DeJounte Murray gone, it actually has kind of helped Trae Young go back into his role of being that guy again. Trae Young has never really shot, 50% from the field. He's never shot 40% from 3. But I do wish his numbers were a little better than about 34% from 3 and 40% from the field. I would like it more if Trae Young could get up to, 45, 35, 36. But, you can't ask for everything out of a player. The next two players I want to look at are the players that the Hawks got back from the Pelicans DeJounte Murray trade. As we look at the first one, Dyson Daniels, who has been a revelation for them. 13 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 3.1 steals per game. He has been a great defensive player. If you look at last year to this year, his shooting percentage is a little bit up all around. He's not an incredible shooter. His free throw percentage is down, which is a little worrying. He might need to go in and work on those. He's another rebound per game, but he also is playing 10 more minutes per game. Another assist per game. Again, he plays more minutes, but the steals is where it is. 1.4 to 3.1. As for Larry Nance Jr., he's been another nice player you can add in it right now. He's out, but he is a nice bench player that they have. If you look at his stats, he's getting about the same amount of minutes. He's shooting better. He's shooting 52% from 3 this year. His free throw percentage is up like 10. Rebounding's gone down a little bit. Assists gone down a little bit. That could just be because he's getting a little bit less minutes. Block shots are up. Steals are a little bit up. His points per games have almost doubled from compared to the minutes he was getting with the Pelicans. But overall, this has been a pretty solid trade for the Atlanta Hawks. The Pelicans have had a disastrous season, but I won't go too much in for it now. We're saving it for when I go over their review. The next player that I want to focus on is potentially the sixth man of the year this year, DeAndre Hunter, averaging almost 20 points a game off the bench, 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Not really passing the ball, but he's shooting 47.5% from the field, 55th in the league. Not bad. As for DeAndre Hunter, he's always kind of been a starter for them for the most part. He's been one of the guys they've really looked forward to be a good player. He was part of the Trae Young-Luka Doncic trade. He's the guy they got the extra pick that they got in addition to Trae Young for Luka. But yeah, he's shooting at an all-time high. He's shooting 43% from 3. His points are up 4 points per game. He's even getting less minutes, but giving them even more points. He's been an incredible player for them. The next player I want to focus on is the number 1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft when the Atlanta Hawks took Zachary Risache, number 1. Risache, for the beginning, you don't expect him to come in and be an incredible player right off the bat. It wasn't a very strong draft class. They're taking this guy as his potential more than he's ready to go, killing it right now. He's only 19, but he is still giving him 10 points per game. He's only shooting 40% from the field, but so is Trae Young. He's only shooting 28.5% from 3, but I think they still believe that he'll be able to improve that. He gets about 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.6 blocks, 0.8 steals, 1.2 turnovers, so he has a negative assist he's an exactly even negative assist turnover ratio, but Risache's been pretty solid on defense for them as well. He's a solid player. He's lanky. He's just getting adjusted to the league. I think with time he will develop into a pretty solid player. Do I think he's the next big thing? No, but I think he can be a really solid player for this Hawks team and help them win some games? Yes. Next up, we have 32-year-old Bogdanovic. Another pretty solid season from him. His shooting splits are not exactly where you want them for Bogdanovic, only about 42% from the field and 34.9% from 3. But he's still giving him 11 off the bench, not close to his 17 last year, so he's kind of regressed based off last year. The last time he's only scored 11 points per game was his rookie year, and this is actually his least score. This is actually his worst scoring season of all time, technically. Is also his worst 3-point percentage, so they got to figure out exactly what's going on with the bogey. He could just need some time later on in the season. His averages could go up, but for right now, it is his worst season, and he might be, finally hitting that little bit of regression since he's getting a little bit older. Next up, we have Onyeka Okongwu, their 6th overall pick in 2020. He's developed into a solid center, but nothing special. He's getting a few less minutes this year. His field goal percentage is down. His 3-point percentage is down. But his his points per game are actually the highest they've ever been. His blocks are down. His steals are about the same. His rebounding is about the same. But overall, he's kind of the backup guy for Clint Capella right now. Is he going to be their starting center looking forward? Probably not. No, he's not. I don't know if there would be a team that would really, want to go all in on Onyeka Okongwu being their center. Next up, we got Clint Capella. He's down on points to 9.6 a game. He's down on rebounding. This is his first time under 10 rebounds per game since the 2016-2017 season. Clint Capella has been one of those really solid centers that just is around and doing his thing. Doesn't really get that much recognition for him. Early in his Rockets career, I had belief in him that he could become something big, but he's kind of just turned into a good, solid starting center. He's not the best. He's not the worst. He's a little good fit for Trae Young, you know. Started every game this year. His minutes are a little bit down this year. That could contribute to why he's not getting as many rebounds and points, but also the team's doing a little bit better around him, and there's other players getting buckets. So I'm not too worried about what's going on with Clint Capella. He is 30, and he's not going to be around forever to be the Hawks center. I'm interested to see what the Hawks will do in the future in their center situation. It could just be a free agent or a trade, though, but I think the Hawks are liking what they are getting out of Clint Capella right now. Next up, we have the sharpshooter Garrison Matthews, a 28-year-old. He's shooting pretty dang well from three, as always. 42.1% this year. He shot 44% last year. His seasons in Atlanta, he hasn't shot under 40% from three. He's not getting a ton of points, but it is his second best scoring season of all time. He's getting 8.7 points per game on pretty solid shooting. He plays about 19 minutes per game as a sharpshooter just to put on the court with Trae Young. A dangerous player to have when you have a good passer. Overall, Garrison Matthews has been a solid player for them. Next up, we have Crazy. I don't know if I'm exactly saying it right. He's a 24-year-old. He was a second-round pick in 2020 by the Wizards. He played more minutes last year. He shot better last year. He scored more points, rebounded better. Everything was better last year. His field goal percentage is under 40%. Three-point percentage is about 34%. It looks like they're trying him out because last year he shot 41.2% from three and had about 6 points per game in about 25 minutes. But overall, I don't know exactly where they're going with this guy. I don't know exactly, what's going on. I expect them to keep playing him, but I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Crazy. We're getting back down a little bit farther into the Hawks bench. Next up, we have Keaton Wallace. His first season as a 25-year-old in the NBA. He has played 16 games for them, shot 40% from the field, 35% from three, and given about 4.7 points per game. And he plays about 15.5 minutes per game. He's been all right for him. Gets a rebound, gives about 2 assists, half a block, almost a steal, and overall is a decently solid player for the Hawks off their bench. Not someone you want to be putting your full trust into to get a ton of minutes, but a solid player. Next up, we have David Roddy, who was a first-round pick by the 76ers in 2022. He exists. He averages about 12, 13 minutes per game. Shoots pretty dang well for them so far. 57% from the field, 45.7% from three. Really, really good shooting splits from him so far in 21 games. He averages about 5.2 points for them per game. He also will grab you 2 boards as a forward. He's been pretty solid for them. I think they're going to keep playing him. He's only 23. He's shooting really well. Hopefully he can keep those shooting numbers up and he could stick around. Now looking into the overall as a team, they are the 6th best offensive team in the league so far. They've done a good job offensively. They get about 117 points per game. They score a lot of points, but they're only 15th in field goal percentage as a team with 46.5. As for 3-point percentage, they're actually one of the worst teams in the league. They're at 19th. I wouldn't say one of the worst, but they're definitely down there in 3-point percentage, only shooting about 35.4% from three. As for 3-point attempts, they're actually below average as well in 3-point attempts. They only attempt about 36.8 a game. From the free throw line, they're a pretty solid team, shooting at 78.5% from the free throw line. Rebounding-wise, they're pretty solid as well. They're top 10 at 10. And they get about 45.1 rebounds per game. As for assists, they're the 2nd best assisting team in the NBA, only behind the team with Nikola Jokic on it. That's pretty dang good. As for turnovers, though, they're one of the worst teams with turnovers, averaging about 16 turnovers per game, and they're 23rd, bottom 8 in turnovers. Steals, they're 2nd, Dyson Daniels is 3.1 to their 10.3 a game, but still second is pretty good for them. A lot of havoc in when you play the Atlanta Hawks. As for blocks, they're still above average. They're at 11, not doing anything too crazy. Their plus minus as a team, though, is actually minus. They're minus 2.6, even though they have been 19 and 19 on the year. Overall, this Hawks team, to me, is a pretty solid team. I think, especially with how the East is right now, they should be a playoff team in this upcoming playoffs. I think they'll hover around the 6 to 10 seed. They'll be somewhere in that range. I think they do make a trade or two at the deadline to maybe bring in a little more bench depth or mix things up a bit. I don't think they do anything catastrophic, but I do think they do make at least one move at the trade deadline. Overall, I expect the Atlanta Hawks to be above 500 at the end of the year. I think they got the offense to do it. I know their defense isn't going to be anything too crazy, even though they do have a lot of steals. But yeah, I do expect the Hawks to make the playoffs. I think they're in a solid spot right now. They are kind of in a weird spot after they kept losing with DeJounte Murray. I think that the DeJounte Murray trade was really big for this team. I think getting the first round pick was big, and I'm excited to see how the team is built around Trae Young in these upcoming years.